we're looking at Toyota, Honda, and Subaru's website in Japan. Now, these are all very prominent Japanese car companies, so it'll be interesting to see what they're cooking up over in foreign countries. And I already know I have favorites, right? So let's just go. I'm going to go over the lineup, and then I'm going to pick up my favorite ones. So you have the Aqua, Corolla Sport, GR Yaris, and Rumi. Can I see the full lineup? Okay, minivans, of course, they have the Alfred, Velfire, Voxy, and Grandace. Grandace is kind of, okay, so these two are more minivans. No, wait, I'm getting confused. Where's the Noah? Yeah, okay. Sorry, they weren't showing, so the Noah is the cheaper version of the Alfred, which is the more expensive version of the Velfire, and then the Voxy and Grandace are they're the bigger minivans. They're kind of on their own, right? The adorable Santa, which I love, and then, of course, the Hi-Ace wagon. In the sedan, you have the Corolla Axio, which is a cheaper version of the Corolla, Crown, Prius, Mirai, and all that happy garbage. They have wagons, the Corolla Touring and Corolla Fielder. I'm not going to tell you my favorites until we cross this. They essentially have every single US SUV here, except for the Yaris Cross and Rise, which are different, and, of course, the Land Cruiser 70, which they sell in almost all foreign markets, right? The Copen is pretty much the only difference here, as well as the GR Yaris and GR Corolla being in the same market, which is interesting. Century, obviously, I love that one. So let's get back. And then, of course, for light vehicle, you have the Pixus line of things, which are essentially just K cars, technically. You have the Seawalk T and the Seawalk S. So let's start with compact cars. I love the Aqua. I love it so much. So if you don't know the story behind the Aqua, do not reply. Essentially, in 2012, Toyota came out with the Prius C, and in foreign markets, the Prius family didn't really exist. They wanted it to be a standalone vehicle. So they named it the Aqua, a efficient, small, gas engine but usually also hybrid car that a lot of people loved. And here, in the United States, they killed it off in 2019. Meanwhile, in the rest of the world, they updated it and gave it the second generation, and I love it. I mean, just look at it. Look at that beautiful, classic Toyota, nice design. I would 100% drive a Prius C/Aqua. They're very nice. It's just beautiful, and I'm sad that we don't have this in the U.S. Very spacious, a lot better than the U.S. models, and I'm 100% sad that we didn't get this. Now, the rest of these, see, now we're in the thing that I actually want. The minivan, the Santa. I love the Santa. The Santa is just so great. So essentially what this is, you can see it here with the cuteness. This is essentially a minivan. Now, one thing I don't like about the Santa is the 5 lug nuts with the 4 spokes. I'm sorry, my fans understand. I like symmetry, and that doesn't... It's busting my mojo, right? I don't like that much. But other than that, the car's adorable. Just imagine having this. In the U.S., we have such a car culture of useless cars. You know what I mean? These EVs, right? These pretend trucks. We have so many useless, awful cars. Crossovers. Almost every single one of them. And I don't mean like the RAV4 CRV crossover. I mean like the Venue. Like absolutely useless, just budget cars in a cheap, thin cloak, right? That's what I mean by, useless cars. Just absolutely useless, right? And something like this would be, just imagine how useful this would be, right? Popping around town can carry everything you need it to. It's even a hybrid, which would be just amazing. They're just great, right? And then again, you have the sliding doors. I would totally love to get one of these in the U.S. I would buy it right now. Like, seriously. There are very few cars that I would be willing to just lay down the law and just buy immediately, and that's definitely one of them. The Rumi's fine. A lot of people really like the Rumi. I've never really been a fan. I love the Corolla Axio. The Corolla Axio is a cheaper version of the Corolla, because in Japan, they actually care about cheap cars, and the reason why it's called the Corolla Axio. So when the U.S. came, just a brief explanation. When Toyota came to the U.S., they had the Crown and the Land Cruiser. It was a two-part system, right? The Land Cruiser would give durability. The Land Cruiser would give, durability to the Crown, and the Crown would give reliability to the Land Cruiser. And they worked together, by word of mouth to spread the Toyota brand. That's kind of what's happening here. So the Corolla Axio is really just a completely different car from the ground down, right? But they call it the Corolla just to give it some of the Corolla good vibes, I guess, right? The Corolla Touring. I mean, come on, you gotta love it. Do you know how much I would pay for a Corolla wagon? They even have a GR version. You cannot tell me that doesn't look great. Like a swagger wagon? Oh, God. Oh no. I'm getting too old. But still, just great. I love it so much. They're just amazing cars. They're so useful, like I said. Just so fun to drive. Here in Florida, that'd be great just to, just bebop around in town. And, and it's so much better than the regular Corolla just because you have so much extra space, right? And people in the U.S. just stopped valuing wagons a few years ago. I never stopped. Even though I grew up in a minivan, I still loved I still loved wagons. So, for SUVs, I really like the Yaris Cross. The Rays, not so much, but the Yaris Cross is great. We have this in almost every other foreign market. It's just a great small SUV. That's very useful. Now, it is one of those stupid crossovers that I'm talking about, but at least it's nice, right? Throwback wheel. Why did every single car have these wheel covers? Like, I know the 2012 Subaru Impreza had those wheel covers, and then the base Prius C for a few years had those wheel covers. Just all the same companies just share them because moldings and stuff. So yeah, I mean, Toyota Japan, it's an interesting lineup, an interesting thing overall, but there's not too many interesting things here. The only other real notable thing would be the Copen. There is one last one that I really love, and it's the Pixis Epic. Now, this is usually known as the worst Pixis, kind of. Essentially, the van and the truck are more useful. This one's just kind of, they stylized the Pixis to be kind of more attractive to Japanese buyers who are thinking, no, I'm not buying like a small little crappy K car. No, I'm buying like an actual real nice car. So they styled it like this, and it's not bad, and I actually love it, and I think it's very cute. It's like the Yaris that they have over there that we don't have, like the Yaris that I think the US should have. Just amazing. We're on to Honda now. Now, Honda has, as we can see, a very diverse thing here. Gotta wait for Google Translate to kick in. They have a very colorful lineup. So for light vehicles, which Honda's been great for, I've always loved Honda. You have the N-Van, N-Van E, N-Box, and Wagon E1. Then for the compact car, you of course have the Fit, which it's called in Japan, the Odyssey, the Step Wagon, and the Freed. Of course, you have for SUV the Vezel, which is essentially just our HR. And then you have the CRV, and then you have the ZRV, and then the WRV. Just a lot of these crossovers. They eat them up overseas, right? And of course the Civic and Accord and the regular basic stuff. So let's start. I love all of these, especially the N-Van E. I think this is really where EVs belong. Just great. I mean, imagine how, like, again, it's shaped like a box, not because it's boxy, but because it's useful. People are forgetting how much stuff you can fit in these older, boxier, great cars, right? They're just amazing, and especially when it's electric, just bebop around town for free. I'd love that. The N1, which is kind of like the cheaper N, it's kind of like, think Honda City. It's kind of like a Honda City or modern age version. I love it. I love it so much. It's like a good Fiat, you don't hear that a whole lot about good Fiats, but it's a good Fiat. And of course you have the N-Wagon, which is great. I love the flat look of it. Like, I would totally drive some of these cars. And notice the snazzy, sporty, don't speed away from me, spoiler, N for you. They haven't translated great. Compact car, of course, you get the Fit. Minivan, the Freed. I love the Freed. The Freed is just so awkward and weird. It's just called the Freed, which is very interesting. And I love these, like, Honda Civic from 2010 EX rims. Very, very nice. And again, this is directly competing with the Sienta, and I would honestly pick this over the Sienta just because of the wheels. Very nice vehicle. Imagine if we had these in the US. Do you know how much I know people would pay to have these in the US? Exorbitant amounts of money. Okay, and then the rest is all boring. That's it. The rest is all just boring. The Fit is not boring. The Fit's actually quite nice overseas, but other than that, boring. Wow, we're in Venice, California, even though this is a Japanese Fit. Just interesting, just normal. And then for Subaru, it's not that interesting, even though they do have some neat things over there. So the only real vehicles that Subaru has in foreign markets, because remember, with Toyota and Honda, they can afford to have these big, gigantic, other cars that aren't there in the US. Subaru, they're kind of out on a limb there. So all they really have is the Laybach, which is essentially just a WRX wagon, which they also have in Australia. It's just called this differently for some reason. So yeah, they're very great. And Subaru loves to do this, even in the US, the gobbledygook of just talking and talking and talking. So it's a Subaru wagon. You get it. It's very nice. One thing you'll find that they don't have here, you can just see just normal everyday things. They do have these, which is a little bit weird, and then you have the mobility ones, and you have just the average everyday things, right? And then, of course, you have the roomy version. The roomy, I don't like the roomy for some reason, And then, of course, you have the Rex, which is also the Rays for Toyota. Then for the mini car thing, you have, wow, Google Translate, come on, translate it for me. Okay, translate it. You have the Chiffon, which is chiffoning. Again, it's very boxy. I still love it. Toyota and, Subaru collaborate a lot in foreign markets. Just great. You gotta love the Chiffon. And I love this. It's such like a Honda way of doing things. Just beautiful and great. I'm sure crash safety isn't amazing, but I'm sure it's good enough. And yeah, and then all these, they're just really cute. I especially like this one. Again, I'm calling it this one because honestly, I don't know the names. The Chiffron Tri. They change with market to market, and a lot of these are only sold in Japan. And I just haven't memorized the names. I just know I like that one. Yeah, so again, a very Subaru way of doing things. You know, Microsoft with the menus and menus and menus and menus and menus and more menus. That's kind of what they like to do. And of course, you have the Pixasibic, but Subaru and all these. So the rest of this is just kind of Toyota. In fact, it's mostly Toyota. And then you have the Stella, which is fun and interesting. Oh, sporty, fancy. The Stella Custom. Wow, you're jazzing me away. So yeah, essentially, just let me know what your favorite car was here. Just like, what was your favorite? I should probably pick up my favorite. Fine, pull my leg, I'll pick up my favorite. My favorite one of here, come on, it's gotta be, there's just nothing like a Toyota Corolla Touring. I would love that. My favorite one in Honda's neck of the woods is most likely probably the E-Vanny. I really like the E-Vanny. It's just so cute, you know, and such Honda City-esque. I feel like they really reached their peak in the Honda City days. And for Subaru, I'd say it's the Outback. I know that's boring, but the global market Outback is very different from ours. It's less just annoying in the front, how we have the big like talons and the at the front. They don't have that. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And that was very fun.